Hey everybody, this is Pooka back with another game I played on the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online. One of the best games around. It's in the beta right now. Try it out if you haven't yet. It's a lot of fun. Now, this game will be against actually one of the viewers when I was streaming. At the end of the night, I said, alright, I'm going to play against some viewers. Just go ahead, and I asked a question. The first person to answer got to play against me, and here we are. So the person I'm playing against here is WolfpackSmiley. He answered one of the questions correctly, and so here we go. I'm going to play with my Ho-Oh deck, and he will be using a Terrakion EX Mewtwo EX deck. Now, in an earlier video, I used the Ho-Oh deck, and I never attacked with it or really did anything, so we'll see if I can do things a little differently this time. Maybe we'll get to showcase the entire deck a little more. So I do start with that Tornadus EX. I get a Ho-Oh in the discard pile, Ultra Ball, some more energy in there, and right now I'm just going to try to get a turn 1 Rainbow Burn, and look at that. So I get heads on the Rebirth, get a Fire, Lightning, and a Metal, 3 different types, turn 1, and I'm actually going to energy switch one of the energy up to Tornadus EX so I can actually turn 1 Power Blast for 100. Don't see that very often these days. Turn 1 attacking has gone down quite a bit after Smeargle, Celebi, Junkarm all left the format, but it does still exist. Ho-Oh can start putting pressure on early. This is the best possible start I could have asked for. Turn 1, 100 damage. Pretty neat, pretty tough to pull off, but we did it here. Now you can see he's got a couple Mewtwo's and a Terrakion EX over there. So, this is not going to be an easy match by any means. Ho-Oh, it can be very quick, but I believe as the game goes on, the deck gets a lot weaker. Ho-Oh is just not a very good attacker. It's really just good for energy acceleration. I mean, you can go up, and he actually gets 2 tails on Super Scoop Up. Wow. So I'm actually going to be able to take 2 prizes here pretty quickly. But, as I was saying, as the game goes on, Ho-Oh is not a very reliable attacker. It's just good for like switching energy over to it and then going from there. So we'll see if I can actually play a whole game out here. I've lost 2 Junipers already, and I could have energy switched an energy over to Mewtwo there. I probably should have, just to give myself an X-Ball option for the next turn, if he decided to go with Mewtwo. But I'm very hesitant to enter Mewtwo Wars if I don't have to, especially because I'm going to be ahead a couple prizes. I don't want to give my opponent an easy way to come back into the game. So here, turn 2, we're knocking out a Mewtwo with Power Blast. That's pretty good. I don't know what's all in my opponent's deck, but those Super Scoop Ups did scare me. Those are some things that could turn the tide of battle. I play them as well, but, you know, it's a flip card. You never know what's going to happen. And we are going to have to see exactly what happens when cards like N come into play. I don't have a second Ho-Oh in the discard pile to get more energy acceleration, unfortunately. You usually want multiple Ho-Ohs in there. Maybe you want to start attacking with one just so it gets knocked out, so you can use Rebirth again to get more energy into play. The deck highly focuses on these energy switches, which I've already gone through 2 of already. So I've gone through 3 Juniper and 2 energy switch on the second turn. That's not good for me. I am very prone to fizzling out as the game progresses. I could see that happening. But right here, I'm going to Power Blast. Once again, can hit him for 100. And I'm actually feeling very confident right now because, I mean, look at the position. I could just knock him out next turn, but then he plays a potion. And just like that, I don't think I'm able to knock him out any longer. So I thought things were going well, but now he plays a potion, and he might survive that minus 20 damage from the Eviolite. He has 70 damage on the Terrakion EX. So I'm going to need to do 110 damage. Currently I don't have anything to do that, and now I'm going to need to do 140 damage. And by that I mean 160 because of the Eviolite. So I'm definitely not going to be able to knock him out. And I got Tails on that last Power Blast to get Tails in the Super Scoop Up. So now I'm just kind of wondering, where do I go from here? If I just attack with the active for, let's say, 80, I'm going to get knocked out. Then I can respond with a Ho-Oh maybe. But it's going to be a poor option, I think, just because Ho-Oh is so vulnerable to even just an X-Ball. It does a ton of damage. Ho-Oh only has 160 hit points, very, very low for an EX. That even 170 for Mewtwo is much better. Just the way that the damage intervals work out against other Mewtwo's. You want to have that at least 10 extra hit points. For some reason, Ho-Oh has 160. I'm not sure why. Must have thought it was too good. But yeah, I can either Power Blast, which is going to take my attachment for the turn, or I can retreat and Rainbow Burn, which will only do 60. So I'm going to have to waste an attachment on either Ho-Oh or Tornadus. Either way. And I think I might want to just do the Ho-Oh just because it's tougher for him to knock out. There's no way he's really going to knock me out in one hit unless he drops a couple energy switches and a double colorless and a switch, which is not too likely. Then he can X-Ball my Ho-Oh, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to go ahead and switch to the Ho-Oh. And I can Rainbow Burn for 80. That's just going to make sure I can get the knockout next turn. I mean, if he plays another potion, all I have to do is attach an energy, and I can knock him out. But that would actually be pretty bad for me if I had to waste another energy attachment. Number one, I don't have another type of energy. You need all different types for Rainbow Burn to get the additional damage. It does 20 plus 20 for each different type of basic energy attached to Ho-Oh. So I don't even have that in my hand, but, I mean, if he plays a potion on this, odds are I'll be able to knock him out with something. He'll be at 90 hit points. It's going to be tough, but I can do it. But, you know, I'm not going to be too secure anymore. Now that he puts the Eviolite on that Mewtwo, he hits my Ho-Oh for 70. Basically, I am just in trouble because I don't have... Well, I mean, I have two heavily damaged EXs on the field that, you know, they're pretty easy to knock out. I normally would have just gone for the Sigilif, but he has that normal Terrakion out there to shut that down. So I might consider powering up Mewtwo at this point, just because I'm going to need the X-Ball eventually, I think. I don't think he can just trade with Terrakion EX. That's not going to work too well. But I will Rainbow Burn here. I'll be ahead 4 prizes, but this is far from over. N is a very, very powerful card. And if he plays one here with a double colorless on the Mewtwo, and then I can't get a response this turn, that's going to be very, very scary. He has the opportunity to catcher another Mewtwo, or catcher my Mewtwo and go for it. But you see I did get a Juniper. That was very, very useful. And right now I have a decision on who I want to promote. If I promote the Tornadus EX, which I will do, then it gives me more flexibility in what I want to do. And we're going to bench the Tornadus EX and go for the Juniper. Now if I draw a double colorless, I win the game. So let's see... No double colorless. Alright, so now I am in a bit of trouble. I might just go ahead and... You know, I can go for a Rebirth with Ho-Oh. That'll get me a Ho-Oh EX out of the discard pile. And nope, Tails, so there goes that option. So what do I want to do here? I can attach to the active Tornadus EX and then go for a Power Blast for 80 damage. But then if he has a catcher and a double colorless, that's pretty ugly. He can knock out my Mewtwo. There's nothing I can do about it. And I might end up just losing because there's not a whole lot I can do about it. He's already closed the gap a little bit, taking those first 2 prizes. So I can either switch into my Mewtwo and X-Ball him for a buttload of damage. That would put him in a bad situation, I think. That might actually be my best option, considering the situation I have here, where I only have 2 prizes left, so next turn I just need another energy to win the game. So, thinking about it, I might just switch into Mewtwo and X-Ball for, let's see, it'd be 140 damage. I think I actually make a mistake here by not doing that. Instead, it looks like I'm going to be content to have my Sigilif here, because it has a safeguard. He actually had to discard a couple catchers earlier, so I might just switch into it and hope he doesn't have a catcher, and we will go from there. So I will send this up. And pass. Alright. So, Pokemon Catcher is going to be the big deal here. He actually switches into his Terrakion EX. So that means he might have a catcher here. He didn't have the double colorless though. But again, I really should have just taken that risk with my Mewtwo. I should have just gone for the X-Ball on his Mewtwo. If he knocks me out, then I pretty much just win. If he doesn't, I can still just get a catcher to win. So, I don't know. Weird play from me, and it looks like it might bite me. But I am out of Professor Junipers at this point. I have 2 random receivers. I could get an N. I don't know if that's going to help me at all, but I can get an N. But I'm fortunate enough to get Charon, actually, which is really, really good. I probably want to play the other random receiver just to thin other N's out of my deck. I don't really want to draw those anymore. I might need him to disrupt him. But overall, I don't think I really want that in my hand. But it can go either way. If he has the last catcher and a switch and a double colorless, I actually lose the game. And Charon, not too likely I'm going to draw a double colorless and a catcher off of my 3 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and rebirth. He will get 3 energy out of the discard pile. 3 different energy types. Rebirth is a really, really good ability, actually. One of the coolest abilities I've ever seen in this game. So this game is extremely close. I'm going to go ahead and get 3 energy types back onto my Ho-Oh. And I might actually just end here. Now I can N. Well, I would switch to the Ho-Oh first, and then N, just to save my energy on the Sigilyph. So I'm going to switch and N. That way I can Rainbow Burn for 80. And then I'm pretty much just putting him on a clock. He has to either retreat or... well, yeah. Retreat or pretty much lose. So he needs an energy to retreat. Or a switch. Now I attached to the Sigilyph there. I might have considered attaching to the Mewtwo because it's so unlikely for him to have switch, catcher, energy off of 2 cards. So if I attach to the Mewtwo, I actually give myself the option to retreat an X-Ball for the game next turn. So again, I'm making a few questionable plays, maybe being a little too cautious with my Mewtwo. Sometimes you just have to take the risk with the big guy. And here you can see this game has gotten way too close for comfort. If he has the last catcher, I'm actually going to lose at this point. Because he can just catcher the Ho-Oh and it's game over. I only have 160 hit points, he's done 100 here. So I'm going to retreat my Ho-Oh for the Sigilyph since it's pretty safe at this point. The only way he's going to be able to deal with this is with a catcher. He can't power up that Terrakion anymore. It's going to take too many energy. His hand size is too low. We've both burned through tons of resources. And let's see, I'm just going to Psychic for 120. And if he has the catcher, I lose. So does he have the game-winning Pokemon catcher? Benches the Bouffalant. That's going to make me think a big no on that one. But this is still anybody's game. If he retreats to the Bouffalant, I'm only doing 30 damage with Psychic. Not very good, but hey, the golden catcher. It's like the Holy Grail. You draw it, and the game is over. So I'm going to catcher up that Mewtwo EX, and we will Psychic for the final 80 damage for the game in this very, very close match with the Ho-Oh deck against a Terrakion Mewtwo. Anything can happen when you have Mewtwo and N involved, as you can see here. A few questionable plays on my behalf. Very well played by my opponent. But in the end, the Ho-Oh deck comes out on top. Sigilyph says, nuh-uh, no EXs are taking me down. And we will take this game here. A very, very close match. And I'm very happy with the game I got to play against WolfpackSmiley, one of the viewers in the stream. So just for the future reference, I do stream quite often. I play Pokemon TCG Online live for everybody to watch, with commentary and music. Some interesting music sometimes. But yeah, please go to twitch.tv/thetopcut. where you can subscribe to our channel and see whenever we go live. Then you can watch these games happen live, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can just chat with other people as it's going on. We have a nice community, so definitely check that out if you haven't yet. Otherwise, thanks everybody for watching. I've been Pooka. We'll have some more Pokemon TCG action for you soon, and I'll see you guys next time.